Well, hello and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be going up against 4 different makers. We are all going to be making our best version of children's furniture. Now, if you're brand new here, this is the second of 3 installments where other makers and I all have the exact same prompt. We all go to our different shops and we make what we feel like is best, and y'all get to vote and choose who actually wins. Now, last time we all did a project centered around coffee tables. It had to be small, and y'all voted Vernon and Lisa Hinkle to be the winners of last time's challenge, which means that they got to choose the rules. And the rules they chose were very simple. You have access to a full 4x8 piece of 1/2" MDF to be able to use however you choose. It has to be made into children's furniture, and you only have access to the 3 CNC with Me bits. And also we had a competition in the background over on CNC with Me where Kevin became the winner of that, and he gets to compete in this week's competition. Although he was not required to make a YouTube video because a lot of work goes into that by itself, he did make an Instagram post, which I'll have linked down below, and he will be included in the poll where y'all can vote for whoever y'all feel like deserves to win this entire competition. Now, let's talk about what I made. This design right here is what we've been iterating on a whole lot to be able to make our market displays. Up here, this can just hold anything, but down here we have this specifically meant to hold our whiskey smokers. Now, I wanted to use this design in order to be able to make a shoe station for my toddler. I only used 2 of the 3 available bits on this project. I used the 60-degree groovy Jenny as well as the downtown Jenny on this. I just used a section of 2x4 MDF for the entirety of this project, and I put it down on my Airweights system, which did really good until the very end. We'll get into that in 1 second. I loaded up the groovy Jenny in order to carve in the numbers 1 through 6, which is going to be denoting the different pairs on the station, as well as her name. Now, if you're brand new here, I have all of these files available on CNC with Me, and these files are no different. Alongside all of the other makers, they have complete file packs. It is a huge file dump this week, and I'm really excited for y'all because y'all get access to all of them over on cncwithme.com. That's really all we did with our V-bit, and then I loaded in the downtown Jenny, which I spent a ton of time pocketing things out. One of the things that I didn't mention about this project is you had an entire day to be able to machine this, so I wasn't really worried about machining time on this project particularly. I just really want to make sure that I had a good finished project. Now, after that, I went ahead and cut out all the slots and then all of the final profiles, and I was pretty much done. I did make sure to go in with my handheld router, and I rounded over all of the sections that really needed it. Now, I do want to be able to caution you that the interior sections of these slots do not need to be rounded over because they need as much surface area as possible to press against the other material so that the entire project is not shaky. It makes it a lot more stable when it's not rounded over and it has something to really flex against so that it's not giving too much area for it to breathe. And after that, I was left with these 6 different parts. Now, as you can see here, you really only need 4, but I wanted to show you different ways that you can make this with and without using the V-bit. You can make this complete project with just a downtown Jenny and be able to get really fantastic results. If you're somebody who doesn't really switch over bits during projects and you're not there yet, you can do all of this with a single bit. I did mention that something had gone wrong with my Airweights system, and at the very last piece, at the very end of my cut, it started pushing the part around. It had knocked free, and we got a little bit of a gouge right there. Not a huge deal, but next time I definitely will make sure that my material was a little bit more sealed. A really great way to combat that so that would never happen in the first place is to cover the back in some type of a non-porous film, like shipping tape or some type of drawer film, because at the end of the day, yes, MDF is incredibly porous and it is going to have the opportunity for movement. The best way to use an Airweight system is to use a piece of material that has 0 porosity. So that was kind of on me, but at the end of the day, I feel like it still worked out really well for the majority of the project. Although if I was making this for a client, I would have covered the back of the MDF with something non-porous. All right, so let's go ahead and put this thing together. One of the really nice parts about this competition is being able to make stuff and not show the other makers what's happening. At this point right now, I have not seen what anybody else has made. They've all sent in their videos and I have not watched them so that I wouldn't have any bias at the end of the day, but I am pretty darn pleased with how this thing turned out. Now, as you can see right here, we have our 2 walls. They slightly differ than the other designs. I added some swoops and some curves into them just to give them a little bit more of a fun, playful feel specifically for this project. And also, as you can see, I went ahead and sealed the MDF with a layer of lacquer as well. I really did that in the first place just to be able to cut down on all the fuzzy surface on all these pockets, which it helped a little bit being able to spray it with MDF, completely let it dry, and then bring in some sandpaper to sand it down a little bit. But there is a noticeable difference between the fuzziness right here of all these pockets and then the complete top surface that you get from the factory of the MDF. Now, I will say that if we are putting on some wet shoes in here, it's still going to soak down in, and that's not really going to be great long term. Assembly on this is incredibly easy. We want to start off with our bottom piece, which is the piece that does not have circles on the very outside, and you just slot it down and then make sure that it sits correctly. Boom, bottom piece is done, and as you can see, we do have a little bit of a wobble, but that could have been a whole lot more severe if you would have routed the inside of these slots, meaning that there would be less surface area for this to be able to push around on. It will get a little bit more stable as we do put the second level on, but I will say that it's not going to be completely rock solid. There's always going to be a little bit of a shift to it. When I sent in the files to Mitz, who has done all the file preparation and also has his own video and own project that I have not seen yet, he said, "What are the holes for?" And this is exactly what those holes are for. Solo cups. Now, these solo cups are something that I was very excited to be able to implement into these projects. You don't really have to use the exact brand solo cup, like these are from Kirkland's and they still work out fine. And then I have the metal version that I use here in the shop for mixing and stuff all the time, and that also works perfectly fine. But the classic red solo cups is what this is meant for, and they are going to sit down in there and work just fine. One of the things that my daughter does every single time we go outside is bring in a ton of sticks and flowers and rocks and everything, and I think that it would be a perfect plan for her just to be able to grab her solo cup so that as she's adventuring outside, she has somewhere to put it, and then a station for that to drop into as she's putting her shoes down. Now, this is meant for 6 different pairs of shoes, and as Mitt said, I'm spoiling my daughter, teaching her that she needs a ton of different shoes, but the reality is she already has way more than 6 pairs, so we're cutting things down by using this. This version by itself, you can have the names facing inwards, you can have the names facing outwards, depending on where you're putting it, and however you want to be able to show things off. I had a lot of different versions where one had like kind of like a tongue area here where you could put in a name, and I didn't really like that. I felt like it distracted from things as well as made it harder to put on things on this bottom shelf. Shoes. We've got our taller shoes that we can store up top, and then our smaller shoes like tennis shoes and Crocs that we can put down below. I'm just so pleased with how this turned out. Now, I will say that I wanted to go ahead and cut this completely out of Bamex as well, because I felt like that is going to be a much better material that's going to hold up to wet shoes and everything very long term. So complete transparency, I did sit down with my daughter in order to paint this so that it wouldn't be bare MDF and it would be more useful, but we got distracted by another project that I'm going to be showing off next week, and we did not get to that. The easy way to be able to waterproof this, or at least make it a little bit more durable, is to be able to put spray paint on it. The unfortunate part is these cavities right here are rough, therefore they are going to take a lot more attention in order to get them as smooth and slick as the top layer of MDF is going to be. MDF is notorious for looking really, really good painted, except for the areas that are freshly cut, which means that you need to seal those and then sand them down in order to get a really good paintable surface, which is not something that I've been able to accomplish here yet. But let's go ahead and look at the other version, which is the version that you do not have to use a V-bit for. Of course, the bottom's upside down. Obviously, we have our little whoopsie down there, but it is not affecting the usability of this at all as it stands. And I really do think that a lot of people are going to prefer this one because it really just takes out the bit changes. And also I think that the 1 through 6 numbers are a fun little add-on, but obviously not necessary for the project overall. Now, a huge shout out to our member Kevin, who is going to be battling all of us today. He made this incredible bookshelf rainbow contraption that is meant for his daughter, and it turned out fantastic. But I haven't seen the other 3 competitors, so I really don't know what they made. But after I saw what Kevin had made, I thought, darn, I really should have painted this one to be able to show it off a little bit better because of the work that he did, which was incredible. If you want to see more about his project in particular, go ahead and check out his Instagram post, which will be linked down below, right next to the poll where you can vote for the maker that you think deserves to win. Also, if you're a CNC With Me member, we have a brand new challenge available where you can be able to participate in the next CNC Against Me, which is going to be happening the first Friday in December. I'm really excited about that, and I hope that y'all are as well. Go ahead and check it out because y'all are going to be following the exact same rules that we followed today. You've got just a short amount of time to be able to enter and see who wins. Go ahead and check it out over on cncwithme.com. Check out Hinkle Shop, Duffy Craft, Mitz's Woodworking and CNC Design, as well as Kevin's Instagram post. Voting process is incredibly easy. It is all anonymous, and you'll immediately be able to see the results as they are coming in. It's not going to ask you for your email or anything like that. It is just a very fun and simple way for y'all to be able to choose who the winner is for this week's CNC Against Me. Best of luck to all of you makers out there. I am now going to go and see what everybody else has made and submit my vote as well. Check out the links down below. I'll see y'all next Friday.